highly intelligent animal.
Something's wrong. They're communicating.
We're talking about...
There's a pig loose! Pig loose!
Good.
Every time we've unveiled a new attraction,
Awesome!
corporate felt genetic modification would up the
What happened to the sibling?
We have an asset out of containment.
The park is open a broken bar and history is alive again. But when science crosses the line, the most dangerous predators the Earth has ever known will remind us who's at the top of the food chain. Welcome to Jurassic World Day only on Cinema Reviews. Jurassic World is a 2015 American science fiction action film directed by Colin Trevorrow, who co-wrote the screenplay with Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver, and Derek Connolly from a story by Jaffa and Silver. It is the first installment in the Jurassic World series and the fourth overall in the Jurassic Park film series, following Jurassic Park 3, 2001. The film features an ensemble cast including Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Vincent D'Onofrio, Ty Simpkins, Nick Robinson, Omar Sy, B.D. Wong, and Irfan Khan, with Wong reprising his role from the original Jurassic Park. Set 22 years after the events of Jurassic Park, the story takes place on the same fictional island of Isla Nublar, located off the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. A thriving theme park of cloned dinosaurs, named Jurassic World, has been operating for years, fulfilling Job Hammond's vision. The park descends into chaos when a genetically engineered dinosaur escapes its enclosure and begins a deadly rampage. Universal Pictures initially planned to begin production of a fourth Jurassic Park film in 2004 for a mid-2005 release, but the project remained in development for years as the script underwent numerous rewrites. Following a suggestion from executive producer Steven Spielberg, writers Jaffa and Silver explored the concept of a fully functional dinosaur park. After Trevorrow was hired as director in 2013, he maintained this concept while developing a new script with Connolly. Filming took place from April to August 2014 in Louisiana and Hawaii. As with previous films, dinosaurs were brought to life through CGI by Industrial Light Magic and animatronics by Legacy Effects. Production concluded in May 2015. Jurassic World premiered at Le Grand Rex in Paris on May 29, 2015, and was released in the United States on June 12 by Universal Pictures. It received generally favorable reviews, with some calling it the best Jurassic Park sequel. Upon release, it broke numerous box office records, including the largest domestic and worldwide opening weekends, and ultimately earned $1.6 billion globally. It became the second highest grossing film of 2015, the third highest grossing film of all time at the time, the highest grossing entry in the Jurassic Park series, and the most financially successful release by Universal. It was followed by three sequels: Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, 2018, Jurassic World Dominion, 2022, and Jurassic World Rebirth, 2025. In the 22 years since the 1993 Jurassic Park disaster on Isla Nublar, another dinosaur theme park known as Jurassic World has been built on the island, where it has operated for several years. It is owned by Masrani Global Corporation in affiliation with InGen, which creates the dinosaurs. Brothers Zach and Gray Mitchell visit the park, where their Aunt Claire Deering works as the operations manager. She assigns her assistant Zara to guide them, but they evade her and explore on their own. Navy veteran and ethologist Owen Grady has been training a Velociraptor squad composed of Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo, and researching their intelligence based on the raptor's ability to follow commands. The head of InGen Security, Vic Hoskins, believes the animals can be weaponized, an idea Owen and his assistant Barry strongly oppose. Claire and Jurassic World owner Simon Masrani inspect the park's newest upcoming attraction, the Indominus Rex, a transgenic dinosaur created by geneticist Dr. Henry Wu. Masrani tasks Owen with evaluating the enclosure's security. Owen warns Claire that the Indominus lacks social skills, making it dangerous and unpredictable. When the Indominus seemingly escapes, Owen and two other workers investigate. The dinosaur, capable of camouflaging itself and masking its heat signature, suddenly appears and devours the other two men, but Owen survives. The Indominus escapes into the island's interior. Owen urges Masrani to destroy it, but Masrani, seeking to protect his investment, sends a unit to subdue it using non-lethal weaponry. After the unit is killed, Claire orders the northern sector's evacuation while Masrani confronts Wu about the Indominus's design. While exploring the park in a tour vehicle, Zach and Gray enter a restricted area. The Indominus arrives and destroys the vehicle, but the boys narrowly escape. They find the ruins of the original Jurassic Park Visitor Center, repair an old Jeep Wrangler, and drive back to the park resort. As Clara and Owen search for the boys, they barely escape the Indominus as well. Masrani and two soldiers hunt the Indominus by helicopter, but it breaks into the park's aviary. The pteranodons and dimorphodons, startled by the Indominus, flee and collide with Masrani's helicopter, causing it to crash and kill its passengers. The escaped pterosaurs descend on the resort and attack visitors, including Zara, who was ultimately devoured by a mosasaurus. Zach and Gray find Owen and Clara at the resort as armed personnel shoot down the pterosaurs. Hoskins assumes command and orders the raptors to be used to track the Indominus, forcing Owen to reluctantly lead the mission. Upon finding it, the raptors begin communicating with the hybrid. Owen realizes the Indominus has Velociraptor DNA and has become the pack's new alpha. Soldiers open fire, but the Indominus escapes. The raptors kill most of the soldiers, while Charlie is killed in the chaos. Hoskins evacuates Wu and dinosaur embryos from the island to safeguard the research. Owen, Claire, and the boys find Hoskins at the lab collecting more embryos, but Delta breaks in and kills him. Owen regains the trust of the three surviving raptors before the Indominus reappears. The raptors attack, but Delta and Echo are killed while Blue is knocked unconscious. Claire releases Jurassic Park's Tyrannosaurus Rex and lures it to the Indominus. The two dinosaurs battle, with the Indominus overpowering the Tyrannosaurus until Blue recovers and joins the fight. Together, they force the hybrid toward the lagoon, where the mosasaurus drags it underwater. Owen and Blue part ways afterward. The survivors are evacuated, and the island is abandoned once more. Zach and Gray reunite with their parents, while Owen and Claire choose to remain together. The casting of Jurassic World, 2015, a comprehensive analysis. Introduction. In 2015, the Jurassic franchise roared back to life with Jurassic World, marking the first installment in what would become a new trilogy and the fourth film in the overall Jurassic Park series. The casting of this ambitious project represented a crucial turning point for the franchise, as it needed to honor the legacy of the original films while introducing fresh faces capable of carrying the series into a new era. The casting decisions made for Jurassic World would ultimately shape not only the success of the film but also the direction of the entire franchise for years to come. The process of assembling the cast for Jurassic World was a delicate balancing act between established stars and emerging talent, seasoned character actors and fresh faces, all under the watchful eye of director Colin Trevorrow. The film's casting would prove to be instrumental in its massive commercial success, grossing over $1.6 billion worldwide and revitalizing one of cinema's most beloved franchises. The director's vision, Colin Trevorrow's approach to casting. When Colin Trevorrow was announced as the director of Jurassic World in March 2013, he brought with him a specific vision for how the film should be cast. Having previously directed the indie hit Safety Not Guaranteed, Trevorrow understood the importance of finding actors who could bring authenticity and relatability to their roles, even within the fantastical world of genetically engineered dinosaurs. Trevorrow's approach to casting was fundamentally different from typical blockbuster filmmaking. Rather than simply pursuing A-list names for marquee value, he sought actors who could embody the characters he and co-writer Derek Connolly had envisioned. This philosophy would prove crucial in the selection of the film's leads and supporting cast, as it prioritized character authenticity over star power. The director also recognized the unique challenge of casting for a Jurassic film. The actors would need to convincingly react to computer-generated creatures that weren't present during filming, requiring a specific skill set that not all performers possess. The ability to sell the reality of dinosaur encounters through practical effects, green screen work, and pure imagination became a key consideration in the casting process. Chris Pratt. From Parks and Recreation to Jurassic World. The casting of Chris Pratt as Owen Grady represents one of the most significant and successful casting decisions in recent blockbuster history. At the time of his casting announcement, Pratt was best known for his role as Andy Dwyer on the NBC comedy series Parks and Recreation. While he had appeared in films like Moneyball and Zero Dark 30, he was not yet considered a leading man in major studio productions. Pratt's transformation from television comedian to action star began with his physical preparation for Guardians of the Galaxy, which was filming around the same time as the Jurassic World casting process. His dedication to fitness and his natural charisma caught the attention of Trevorrow and the casting directors, who saw in him the perfect blend of humor, relatability, and action hero potential. The character of Owen Grady required an actor who could convincingly portray a dinosaur trainer and researcher while maintaining the everyman quality that audiences could connect with. Pratt's background in comedy provided him with excellent timing and the ability to deliver exposition naturally, crucial skills when dealing with the scientific and technical dialogue that permeates Jurassic films. What made Pratt's casting particularly inspired was his ability to bring gravitas to the role without losing his inherent likability. Owen Grady needed to be someone the audience would trust with dangerous dinosaurs, yet also someone they'd want to share a beer with. Pratt's performance struck this balance perfectly, creating a character who was both competent and approachable. The casting of Pratt also represented a strategic move by Universal Pictures to establish a new franchise star. His subsequent success in Guardians of the Galaxy and other action films vindicated this decision, proving that the studio had identified a rising star at the perfect moment. Pratt's natural chemistry with both the dinosaur characters and his human co-stars became one of the film's greatest assets. Bryce Dallas Howard. Continuing a Hollywood legacy. The casting of Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire Dearing brought both pedigree and talent to Jurassic World. As the daughter of acclaimed director Ron Howard, she came to the project with an understanding of big-budget filmmaking and the pressures that come with it. However, her casting was based purely on merit, as she had already established herself as a skilled actress through her work in films like The Village, Lady in the Water, and The Help. Howard's portrayal of Claire required her to undergo a significant character arc throughout the film, transforming from a corporate executive focused on profit margins to someone who truly understands and respects the power of nature. This evolution demanded an actress capable of subtle character work while also handling action sequences and emotional beats. The character of Claire was deliberately written to challenge typical gender roles in action films. Rather than being a damsel in distress, she becomes increasingly capable and resourceful as the film progresses. Howard's performance was crucial in making this character development feel authentic rather than forced, bringing intelligence and determination to a role that could have easily become a stereotype. Howard's chemistry with Chris Pratt was another essential element of her casting. The romantic subplot between Owen and Claire needed to feel natural despite the extraordinary circumstances surrounding them. Their banter and growing mutual respect throughout the film provided emotional anchors for the audience amidst all the dinosaur action. The physical demands of the role also played into Howard's casting. She needed to be convincing in action sequences while wearing business attire for much of the film, including the new famous scene of her outrunning a T-Rex in high heels. Howard's commitment to these physical challenges, combined with her acting skills, made her the ideal choice for this complex role. Vincent D'Onofrio. The complex antagonist Vincent D'Onofrio's casting as Vic Hoskins brought gravitas and complexity to the film's human antagonist. Known for his intense performances in Full Metal Jacket, Men in Black, and Law Order: Criminal Intent, D'Onofrio was the perfect choice for a character who believes his militaristic approach to dinosaurs is justified. The character of Hoskins represented the military-industrial complex's interest in weaponizing dinosaurs, a theme that resonated with contemporary concerns about the militarization of various technologies. D'Onofrio's ability to portray characters who are simultaneously sympathetic and threatening made him ideal for this morally ambiguous role. D'Onofrio's casting also brought a level of acting credibility to the project. His presence signaled that Jurassic World was serious about the dramatic elements of its story, not just the spectacle. His scenes with Chris Pratt crackled with tension, as both actors brought different approaches to their craft that complemented each other perfectly. The actor's physicality also played into his casting. D'Onofrio has always been able to use his imposing presence to suggest threat even when his characters are being ostensibly friendly. This quality was perfect for Hoskins, who maintains a veneer of reasonableness while pursuing his dangerous agenda. Irfan Khan. International appeal and gravitas. The casting of Irfan Khan as Simon Masrani brought international star power and genuine gravitas to Jurassic World. Khan, already a respected actor in Indian cinema and known to international audiences through films like Life of Pi and The Amazing Spider-Man, provided the film with both credibility and global appeal. Khan's portrayal of Masrani was crucial to the film's themes about corporate responsibility and the hubris of playing God with nature. As the CEO of the company that owns Jurassic World, Masrani needed to be portrayed as someone with good intentions whose vision is ultimately corrupted by commercial pressures and unforeseen consequences. The character of Masrani also served as a bridge between the original Jurassic Park films and the new trilogy. As someone who admired Job Hammond and sought to fulfill his vision, Masrani represented both continuity with the past and the new direction of the franchise. Khan's performance captured this duality perfectly, showing a man who genuinely cares about both the dinosaurs and the visitors to his park. Khan's natural charisma and intelligence made him perfect for scenes involving technical exposition and corporate decision-making. He could make dialogue about genetics and park operations feel natural and engaging, crucial skills in a franchise where scientific concepts play a major role. Tragically, Khan's death in 2020 from cancer cut short what should have been a longer involvement with the franchise. His performance in Jurassic World stands as a testament to his talent and his ability to bring depth to roles that could have been one-dimensional. The young actors, Ty Simpkins and Nick Robinson. The casting of Ty Simpkins and Nick Robinson as the Mitchell brothers, Gray and Zach, represented a crucial decision about the film's family appeal. These characters served as audience surrogates, particularly for younger viewers, while also providing emotional stakes for the adult characters. Ty Simpkins, who had previously appeared in Iron Man 3, brought a natural enthusiasm and intelligence to the role of Gray Mitchell. His character's passion for dinosaurs mirrored that of many audience members, making him an effective conduit for the film's sense of wonder. Simpkins' ability to balance scientific knowledge with childlike excitement was perfect for a Jurassic film. Nick Robinson, cast as the older brother Zach, had the more challenging role of portraying a teenager more interested in girls than dinosaurs who gradually becomes invested in the adventure. Robinson's performance needed to show character growth from disinterested adolescent to protective older brother, and he handled this arc with subtlety and conviction. The chemistry between Simpkins and Robinson was essential to making their sibling relationship feel authentic. Their banter, arguments, and eventual bonding throughout the film provided emotional weight to the action sequences and helped ground the fantastical elements in recognizable family dynamics. B.D. Wong, the returning face. B.D. Wong's return as Dr. Henry Wu represented the film's strongest connection to the original Jurassic Park. Wu's character, who had a relatively small role in the 1993 film, was expanded significantly for Jurassic World. allowing Wong to explore new dimensions of the character. Wong's casting choice to return was significant both for continuity and for the representation of Asian American actors in major blockbusters. His Dr. Wu became a more complex character, serving as both a brilliant scientist and a morally ambiguous figure whose genetic experimentation drives much of the plot. The evolution of Wu from his appearance in the original film to Jurassic World showcased Wong's range as an actor. He had to portray a character who had become more hardened and morally flexible over the years, while maintaining the scientific brilliance that defined the role originally. Wong's presence also served as a bridge between the old and new, helping to establish the continuity that fans expected while allowing for new story directions. His performance anchored the film's genetic engineering subplot with both scientific credibility and dramatic tension. Omar Sy, international star power. The casting of Omar Sy as Barry Samatilda D'Aracesni brought French cinema's star power to Jurassic World. Sy, known internationally for The Untouchables, provided the film with both diversity and acting credibility. His character served as Owen's partner in training the velociraptors, giving him scenes with both dinosaurs and human characters. Sy's natural charisma and his ability to convey both competence and vulnerability made him perfect for a role that required interaction with some of the film's most dangerous creatures. His chemistry with Chris Pratt helped establish Owen's credibility as a dinosaur trainer, as Barry served as both colleague and friend. The character of Barry also provided important diversity to the film's cast, representing the international nature of the modern scientific community. Sy's performance brought authenticity to this aspect of the story while also providing moments of both humor and tension. Jake Johnson and Lauren Lapkus, comic relief with heart. The casting of Jake Johnson and Lauren Lapkus as Lowry Crothers and Vivian Grill, respectively, brought contemporary comedy sensibilities to the Jurassic World control room. Both actors, known for their work in television comedy, provided moments of levity that helped balance the film's more intense sequences. Johnson's Lowry served as something of a fan surrogate, representing audience members who grew up with the original Jurassic Park films. His character's vintage Jurassic Park t-shirt and his commentary on the events provided both humor and metatextual commentary on the franchise's legacy. Lapkus, though in a smaller role, brought energy and personality to what could have been a thankless exposition-heavy part. Her ability to make technical dialogue feel natural and engaging was crucial in the control room sequences that drove much of the film's plot. The supporting cast, building a believable world. Jurassic World's success depended not just on its leads but on a carefully chosen supporting cast that could make the world of the dinosaur theme park feel lived in and authentic. Each supporting role was cast with actors who could bring specificity and believability to their parts, no matter how small. Judy Greer, cast as Karen Mitchell, brought her considerable comedic skills to the role of the boy's mother. Her performance grounded the family dynamics that drive much of the emotional investment in her son's safety. Greer's ability to convey both humor and genuine concern made the family relationships feel authentic. Andy Buckley, as Scott Mitchell, provided a solid foundation as the boy's father. His scenes establishing the family situation and his concern for his sons helped create the emotional stakes that would drive the action sequences later in the film. Brian T., as Hamada, brought intensity to his role as one of the InGen security team members. His performance helped establish the military mindset that drives some of the film's conflict while also providing action sequence credibility. The casting process. Behind the scenes, the casting process for Jurassic World involved multiple layers of decision-making, from director Colin Trevorrow's vision to studio executives' commercial concerns to the practical requirements of working with CGI dinosaurs. Casting directors had to find actors who could handle the technical demands of the role while also bringing the dramatic skills necessary for the emotional content. The process likely involved extensive screen tests, particularly for the lead roles. The chemistry between Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard would have been crucial to establish during auditions, as the relationship forms the emotional core of the film. Similarly, the young actors would have needed to demonstrate their ability to convey both wonder and terror in their reactions to imaginary dinosaurs. The international casting choices, particularly Irfan Khan and Omar Sy, reflected both the global nature of modern blockbuster filmmaking and the story's multinational scientific community. These decisions helped broaden the film's appeal while also bringing credibility to the scientific aspects of the story. The impact of star power versus character authenticity. One of the most interesting aspects of Jurassic World's casting was the balance between star power and character authenticity. While Chris Pratt was on the verge of major stardom, he wasn't yet the guaranteed box office draw he would become. This allowed the filmmakers to cast for character fit rather than pure marquee value. This approach paid dividends in the film's reception. Audiences responded to characters who felt real and relatable, even within the extraordinary circumstances of a dinosaur theme park. The casting choices prioritized actors who could sell the reality of their situations rather than those who might coast on their celebrity status. The decision to cast relatively grounded, realistic actors also helped distinguish Jurassic World from other blockbuster franchises that might rely more heavily on larger-than-life personas. The everyman quality of the leads made the extraordinary circumstances feel more impactful and terrifying. Diversity and representation in the cast. Jurassic World made notable strides in diversity compared to the original Jurassic Park trilogy. The inclusion of actors like Irfan Khan, Omar Sy, and B.D. Wong reflected both the international nature of modern scientific communities and the global audience for blockbuster films. However, the film also faced some criticism for its gender representation, particularly regarding Claire's character arc and her much-discussed high heels. These discussions became part of the broader conversation about how women are portrayed in action films, with Bryce Dallas Howard's performance and the character's development being central to these debates. The casting choices reflected the filmmakers' attempt to create a more diverse and representative ensemble while still working within the commercial constraints of blockbuster filmmaking. The success of these choices in terms of both representation and box office performance helped influence casting decisions for subsequent films in the franchise. The technical challenges of dinosaur acting. Casting for a Jurassic film requires finding actors who can convincingly react to creatures that don't exist during filming. This technical challenge influenced many of the casting decisions, as directors and casting agents looked for actors with strong imagination and the ability to create believable reactions to off-camera stimuli. The experience of working with motion capture performers and reacting to tennis balls on sticks requires a specific skill set that not all actors possess. The cast of Jurassic World needed to be able to sell the reality of dinosaur encounters through pure performance, without the benefit of practical creatures to react to. This technical requirement particularly influenced the casting of the lead roles. Chris Pratt's scenes with the velociraptors required him to establish believable relationships with creatures that would be added in post-production. His background in comedy, which requires strong timing and the ability to react to abstract concepts, served him well in these sequences. The legacy characters and continuity. While Jurassic World introduced mostly new characters, that decision to bring back B.D. Wong as Dr. Henry Wu represented an important continuity choice. This casting decision helped establish the film as a true sequel to the original Jurassic Park rather than a reboot, providing narrative and thematic continuity. The expansion of Wu's character also allowed the filmmakers to explore themes that had been touched upon in the original film but never fully developed. Wong's performance bridged the gap between the scientific optimism of the original film and the more cynical corporate environment of Jurassic World. The absence of other original cast members and significant roles was a deliberate choice that allowed the new cast to establish themselves without being overshadowed by beloved returning characters. This decision would be revisited in later films in the trilogy, but for Jurassic World, it allowed the new ensemble to stand on its own. International appeal and global casting. The casting of Jurassic World reflected the modern blockbuster strategy of appealing to global audiences. The inclusion of international stars like Irfan Khan and Omar Sy helped the film appeal to audiences in key international markets while also reflecting the realistic multinational nature of a modern scientific operation. These casting choices went beyond mere commercial considerations to serve the story. The international cast helped sell the idea of Jurassic World as a global destination that would naturally attract scientists and visitors from around the world. This authenticity helped ground the fantastic elements of the story in recognizable reality. The success of these international casting choices in Jurassic World helped establish a template for subsequent films in this franchise, which continued to include diverse international casts that reflected both commercial and creative considerations. The chemistry factor. One of the most crucial aspects of the casting process was ensuring that the main characters had believable chemistry with each other. The relationships between Una and Claire needed to feel authentic and earned. Despite the extraordinary circumstances of their courtship, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's natural rapport helped sell this relationship to audiences. Similarly, the family relationships needed to feel genuine to provide emotional stakes for the action sequences. The chemistry between the young actors playing the Mitchell brothers, and their believable relationship with Bryce Dallas Howard as their aunt, helped ground the film's emotional content. The ensemble chemistry extended beyond the romantic and family relationships to include the professional relationships between characters. The camaraderie between Una and Barry, the tension between Una and Hoskins, and the corporate dynamics between Claire and Masrani all benefited from careful casting choices that prioritized interpersonal chemistry. Conclusion. The lasting impact of Jurassic World's casting. The casting of Jurassic World proved to be one of the key factors in the film's massive commercial and cultural success. The decision to prioritize character authenticity over pure star power created an ensemble that audiences could connect with and believe in, even within the fantastical world of genetically engineered dinosaurs. The success of Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard in their roles helped establish them as major stars and created the foundation for the subsequent films in the trilogy. The supporting cast provided depth and authenticity that helped make the world of Jurassic World feel lived in and believable. The international casting choices reflected both commercial savvy and creative authenticity, helping the film appeal to global audiences while serving the story's multinational scientific community. The technical challenges of dinosaur acting were met by a cast capable of selling the reality of extraordinary circumstances through pure performance. Perhaps most importantly, the casting of Jurassic World succeeded in honoring the legacy of the original Jurassic Park films while establishing a new direction for the franchise. The careful balance between continuity and innovation in casting helped create a film that satisfied both longtime fans and new audiences. The legacy of these casting choices extends beyond the success of Jurassic World itself. The film's approach to casting influenced subsequent blockbuster films and helped establish new standards for diversity, authenticity, and character development in major studio productions. The success of actors like Chris Pratt in transitioning from television comedy to blockbuster action films opened doors for similar career trajectories. As the Jurassic franchise continues to evolve with new films and new casts, the casting decisions made for Jurassic World remain a template for how to successfully revive and modernize a beloved franchise. The film demonstrated that audiences respond to authentic characters and believable performances, even within the most extraordinary circumstances. The casting of Jurassic World stands as a masterclass in ensemble building, demonstrating how careful attention to character authenticity, chemistry, and diversity can create a foundation for both critical and commercial success. As cinema continues to evolve, the lessons learned from these casting choices continue to influence how major studios approach the complex process of bringing beloved franchises back to life for new generations of audiences. The film's casting success ultimately lay in its recognition that even in a world of dinosaurs and genetic engineering, audiences connect most strongly with authentic human characters facing extraordinary challenges. By prioritizing this authenticity in their casting choices, the filmmakers created a foundation that allowed the spectacular elements of the story to have maximum emotional impact. In the years since Jurassic World's release, the casting choices have been vindicated by the continued success of the franchise and the career trajectories of its stars. The film demonstrated that sometimes the biggest risk in blockbuster filmmaking is not taking risks at all, and that audiences are ready to embrace new faces and fresh approaches when they're grounded in authentic character work and believable relationships. The casting of Jurassic World will likely be remembered as a turning point not just for the franchise, but for blockbuster filmmaking in general. It showed that commercial success and artistic authenticity could coexist, and that the best way to honor a beloved franchise is not necessarily to replicate what came before, but to find new ways to capture the same spirit and excitement that made the original so special. As new Jurassic films continue to be made, the casting legacy of Jurassic World serves as both inspiration and challenge. The bar was set high for character authenticity, ensemble chemistry, and global representation. Future films in the franchise, and blockbusters in general, continue to grapple with the lessons learned from these casting choices and their remarkable success in connecting with audiences around the world. Jurassic World, 2015. A comprehensive analysis introduction. 22 years after the catastrophic events of the original Jurassic Park, the dream of Joe Hammond finally came to fruition with the opening of Jurassic World. Directed by Colin Trevorrow and released in 2015, this fourth installment in the Jurassic Park franchise brought audiences back to Isla Nublar with spectacular results. The film marked a triumphant return to the world of cloned dinosaurs, combining cutting-edge visual effects, compelling characters, and thrilling action sequences to create what many critics considered the best Jurassic Park sequel. Starring Chris Pratt as Owen Grady, a Navy veteran turned dinosaur trainer, and Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire Deering, the operations manager of the fully functional theme park. Jurassic World explored themes of corporate excess, humanity's relationship with nature, and the consequences of playing God with genetic engineering. The film's success was unprecedented, breaking numerous box office records and establishing a new trilogy that would continue the franchise's legacy. This comprehensive analysis examines the extensive production journey of Jurassic World, from its troubled development phase through its triumphant theatrical release, exploring every aspect of the filmmaking process that brought this ambitious project to life. Production development and pre-production. The journey to bring Jurassic World to the screen began long before Colin Trevorrow took the director's chair. The project's origins can be traced back to May 2001, when Steven Spielberg commissioned Amblin Entertainment to begin developing ideas for Jurassic Park 4. Initially, Joe Johnston, who had directed Jurassic Park 3, showed little interest in returning to helm the fourth film, setting the stage for what would become a prolonged development process. In 2002, the project gained momentum when William Monahan was announced as screenwriter, with a release date optimistically set for mid-2005. Kathleen Kennedy was attached to produce, while Spielberg would serve as executive producer. The early story concepts were ambitious and varied, with one idea involving dinosaurs migrating to the Costa Rican mainland. This storyline would have featured returning characters Dr. Alan Grant and Dr. Ian Malcolm leading an expedition to an offshore island to discover dinosaurs breeding freely in the wild. The plot would have focused on the team's efforts to contain the dinosaurs and prevent an ecological disaster. Perhaps the most unusual concept from this early development phase involved genetically engineered human dinosaur mercenaries, an idea that would later inspire various fan theories and discussions about the franchise's creative direction. Monahan completed his first draft in July 2003, notably setting the story outside the jungle environments that had defined the previous films. However, Monahan subsequently left the project to work on Kingdom of Heaven, leading to another change in the creative team. John Sayles was brought in as Monahan's replacement, writing 2 drafts of the script that further explored the concept of weaponized dinosaurs. In one of Sayles' drafts, a new character named Nick Harris, described as a mercenary, would be tasked with training genetically modified dinosaurs for rescue missions and anti-drug operations. Interestingly, the concept of a human training dinosaurs came directly from Spielberg himself, an idea that would eventually evolve into Owen Grady's relationship with his velociraptor pack in the final film. By April 2005, the project had stalled as Spielberg expressed dissatisfaction with the script revisions. Frank Marshall joined as a producer, but progress remained slow as both Marshall and Spielberg became occupied with other film projects. The development was further delayed as the team awaited the completion of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which required both Marshall and Spielberg's attention. In 2006, Spielberg announced that Johnston would direct the film, but by April 2007, Johnston was no longer attached to the project. The release date was pushed back multiple times, first to 2008, then to 2009. By 2010, Johnston had returned to the project with plans to make the film the first in a new Jurassic Park trilogy, though these plans would ultimately not come to fruition under his direction. The development process took another significant turn in 2011 when writer Mark Protasiewicz was hired to take a fresh approach to the material. Despite his efforts, Protasiewicz wrote 2 story treatments that failed to gain approval from Spielberg and Kennedy, who felt the project still lacked an adequate story foundation. The breakthrough came in 2012 when Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver, known for their work on Rise of the Planet of the Apes, were hired to write the script. Their approach successfully incorporated 3 key elements that Spielberg had consistently wanted to see in the film: a fully functioning dinosaur theme park, a human character who forms relationships with trained raptors, and a human-eating dinosaur that escapes and must be stopped. These elements would become the foundation for what would eventually become Jurassic World. In January 2013, Universal Pictures set an ambitious release date of June 13, 2014, demonstrating their confidence in the project's progress. However, Kathleen Kennedy departed the project soon after to focus on the upcoming Star Wars sequel trilogy, marking the end of her involvement with the Jurassic franchise. The project's direction was solidified in March 2013 when Colin Trevorrow was hired as director. Trevorrow, known for his work on the independent film Safety Not Guaranteed, brought a fresh perspective to the franchise. Patrick Crowley was announced as producer alongside Marshall, completing the core creative team that would see the project through to completion. Trevorrow collaborated with his writing partner Derek Connolly to rewrite the earlier draft by Jaffa and Silver while maintaining Spielberg's 3 core story concepts. The film's release was delayed by a year to June 12, 2015, providing the writing team with additional time to perfect the script and ensure the story met the high expectations associated with the Jurassic Park franchise. In September 2013, Universal officially confirmed the film's title as Jurassic World, marking a clear departure from the numbered sequel approach and signaling a new beginning for the franchise. The film was conceived as being set 22 years after the events of the original Jurassic Park and was positioned as a direct sequel to that film. While The Lost World, Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 3 remain part of the series canon, Jurassic World would largely ignore their events, as they had taken place on Site B, Alasorna, rather than the original Ala Nublar location. The casting process for Jurassic World was carefully managed to find the right balance of established talent and fresh faces. In October 2013, Ty Simpkins and Nick Robinson were cast as the child characters Gray and Zach Mitchell, Clara's nephews who become central to the film's plot. Their casting was followed by the announcement of Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt in the lead roles of Clara Deering and Owen Grady, respectively. The decision to cast Chris Pratt proved particularly prescient, as his star was rising following his successful performances in Guardians of the Galaxy and Parks and Recreation. Vincent D'Onofrio and Irfan Khan joined the cast in early 2014, bringing their considerable acting talents to the roles of Vic Hoskins and Simon Masrani. Perhaps most significantly for longtime franchise fans, B.D. Wong was cast to reprise his role as Dr. Henry Wu, marking the character's first appearance since the original 1993 Jurassic Park film. The pre-production phase involved extensive planning for the film's complex practical and digital effects sequences. Legacy Effects, the company founded by former Stan Winston studio artists, was brought in to create animatronic dinosaurs, continuing the franchise's tradition of blending practical and digital effects. Industrial Light Magic returned to handle the film's computer-generated dinosaur sequences, maintaining continuity with the previous film's visual approach. Filming principal photography for Jurassic World began on April 10, 2014. Marking the start of an ambitious filming schedule that would take the production to multiple locations across Hawaii and Louisiana. The choice of filming locations was crucial to establishing the film's visual identity and creating a believable setting for the fully operational Jurassic World theme park. The Hawaiian portion of filming took place on the islands of Kauai and Oahu, locations that had been used in the previous Jurassic Park films. These islands provided the lush, tropical environments that had become synonymous with the franchise. On Oahu, the production constructed the Indominus Rex enclosure, a massive set piece that would serve as the location for some of the film's most tense and dramatic scenes. The Hawaiian filming phase continued through June 2014, capturing the exterior shots that would establish the film's island setting. Following the completion of Hawaiian filming, the production moved to Louisiana, where some of the most innovative and ambitious set construction took place. The production team made the creative decision to use the abandoned Six Flags New Orleans Park as the primary filming location for Jurassic World's Main Street and boardwalk areas. This post-Hurricane Katrina location provided an authentic theme park infrastructure that could be dressed and modified to create the fictional Jurassic World. The transformation of the abandoned Six Flags Park was a massive undertaking that involved extensive set decoration and construction. The production team built new facades, installed themed attractions, and created the illusion of a fully operational dinosaur theme park. This location choice proved both economical and atmospheric, as the existing infrastructure provided a solid foundation for the extensive set decoration required. NASA's McCood Assembly Facility in New Orleans served as another crucial filming location, housing the construction of numerous interior sets. This massive facility provided the space needed for large-scale set construction, including the Mosasaurus feeding show arena and the Raptor enclosure. The facility's industrial architecture also served as the backdrop for various laboratory and control room scenes, adding to the film's high-tech aesthetic. The filming process incorporated both traditional cinematography and cutting-edge technology to capture the action sequences and dinosaur interactions. The production used a combination of animatronic dinosaurs, motion capture technology, and digital effects to create believable dinosaur performances. Legacy Effects provided a full-scale animatronic Apatosaurus that was used for several key scenes, while maquettes and partial animatronics were used for closer dinosaur interactions. One of the film's most memorable and controversial sequences involved the death of Claire's assistant Zara, portrayed by Katie McGraw. This scene marked the first time in the Jurassic franchise that a female character was killed on screen in a spectacular fashion. Director Colin Trevorrow deliberately designed this sequence to be the most spectacular death we can possibly imagine, wanting to surprise audiences and subvert expectations about which characters might survive the dinosaur encounters. The scene's filming required complex coordination between practical effects, stunt work, and digital effects. The sequence shows Zara being carried off by pteranodons before falling into the park's lagoon, where she is consumed by the massive Mosasaurus. The filming of this scene involved multiple stages of production, from practical stunt work to extensive digital effects work that would be completed in post-production. Chris Pratt's performance as Owen Grady required him to work extensively with both animatronic and digital dinosaurs. His scenes with the Velociraptor pack were particularly challenging, as they required him to establish believable relationships with creatures that would largely be added in post-production. The production used various techniques to help Pratt and the other actors interact convincingly with the digital dinosaurs, including eye-line references, practical puppets, and detailed pre-visualization. Bryce Dallas Howard's portrayal of Claire Deering became notable for several reasons, including her character's decision to maintain her professional attire, including high heels, throughout the film's action sequences. This choice sparked considerable discussion among audiences and critics about the character's practicality and the film's approach to gender representation. The filming of action sequences required extensive coordination between the actors, stunt performers, and effects teams. The film's climactic battle between the Indominus Rex, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Blue the Velociraptor required careful planning and execution to create a believable and exciting confrontation. These scenes involved a combination of practical set pieces, animatronics, and digital effects that would be seamlessly integrated in post-production. Throughout the filming process, the production maintained strict security to prevent plot details from leaking to the public. The ambitious scope of the film's action sequences and the return to the Jurassic Park universe generated significant media attention and fan speculation, making secrecy a crucial aspect of the production process. The filming phase was completed on August 5, 2014, After 4 months of intensive production work across multiple locations, the final budget was reported to be between $150 million and $215 million, reflecting the film's ambitious scope and extensive use of cutting-edge visual effects technology. Post-production. The post-production phase of Jurassic World was as complex and demanding as the filming process, requiring extensive work to integrate practical effects, digital dinosaurs, and live-action footage into a seamless final product. This phase, which extended from August 2014 through May 2015, involved numerous specialized teams working to bring the film's ambitious vision to life. Industrial Light Magic, ILM, took the lead on the film's extensive digital effects work, continuing their involvement with the Jurassic franchise that had begun with the groundbreaking original film. The company faced the challenge of creating more dinosaurs than any previous film in the series, while also maintaining the high standard of realism that audiences expected from the franchise. The creation of the Indominus Rex presented unique challenges for the effects team. As a genetically engineered hybrid dinosaur, the creature needed to appear both familiar and unnaturally threatening. The design process involved extensive research and multiple iterations to create a creature that would serve as a worthy antagonist for the film. The Indominus Rex's ability to camouflage itself and mask its heat signature required innovative effects work to convincingly portray those abilities on screen. The Velociraptor pack, consisting of Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo, required particularly detailed work to establish individual personalities and characteristics for each dinosaur. Each raptor was given distinct physical features, coloring, and behavioral traits that would help audiences distinguish between them during the film's action sequences. The creation of these characters involved extensive motion capture work and detailed animation to bring them to life. The film's climactic battle sequence required some of the most complex effects work, as multiple large dinosaurs needed to interact convincingly in a single sequence. The fight between the Indominus Rex, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Blue required careful choreography and extensive rendering work to create a believable confrontation between the massive creatures. The Mosasaurus sequences presented their own unique challenges, as the massive marine reptile needed to appear convincingly aquatic while interacting with both the environment and other characters. The creature's feeding show sequence and its climactic appearance required detailed work on water simulation and creature animation. Legacy effects contributions were integrated seamlessly with the digital work, requiring careful matching of lighting, textures, and movement between practical and digital elements. The animatronic Apatosaurus used in several scenes needed to be enhanced and extended through digital effects to create fully realized dinosaur performances. The film's sound design was another crucial element of post-production, building on the iconic dinosaur roars and environmental sounds established in previous films. The sound team created new vocalizations for the Indominus Rex and refined the sounds for the returning dinosaur species, ensuring consistency with the franchise's audio legacy while introducing new elements. Color grading and visual finishing work helped establish the film's distinctive look, balancing the lush natural environments of the island with the high-tech aesthetics of the theme park. The contrast between the pristine, commercial areas of Jurassic World and the wilder, more dangerous regions of the island was emphasized through careful color work and lighting adjustments. The editing process, led by Kevin Stitt, involved assembling the complex action sequences and balancing the film's pacing between character development, exposition, and dinosaur action. The film's structure required careful attention to build tension while providing audiences with the spectacular dinosaur encounters they expected from the franchise. Post-production was completed in May 2015. Just weeks before the film's theatrical release. The tight schedule required extensive coordination between all departments and around-the-clock work to meet the ambitious release date. Music. The musical score for Jurassic World represented both a continuation of the franchise's musical legacy and a fresh approach to scoring a new generation of dinosaur adventures. Michael Giacchino, known for his work on television series like Lost and films such as Up and Star Trek, was chosen to compose the score, bringing his expertise in creating both intimate character themes and large-scale action music to the project. Giacchino's approach to the Jurassic World score was carefully considered, balancing respect for John Williams's iconic themes from the original trilogy with the need to create new musical ideas for the film's characters and situations. Williams's original themes, including the soaring main theme and the more ominous dinosaur motifs, had become inseparable from the franchise's identity, making their integration a crucial element of the new score. The composer took what he described as a really targeted approach to incorporating Williams's themes, carefully selecting moments where their inclusion would have the greatest emotional impact and serve the story most effectively. Rather than simply recycling the original themes throughout the film, Giacchino chose specific moments where their appearance would resonate most strongly with audiences familiar with the franchise. The score needed to serve multiple functions within the film, from establishing the wonder and majesty of the fully operational Jurassic World theme park to building tension during the film's more suspenseful and action-packed sequences. Giacchino created new themes for the main characters, including Owen Grady and Claire Dearing, while also developing musical ideas that would represent the new dinosaurs, particularly the menacing Indominus Rex. The park itself became a character in the score, with Giacchino creating music that captured both the commercial, family-friendly atmosphere of the tourist destination and the underlying danger that lurked beneath the surface. The contrast between the park's public facade and its more sinister elements was reflected in the musical approach, with lighter, more whimsical themes giving way to darker, more threatening motifs as the situation deteriorates. Action sequences required particularly dynamic scoring, with Giacchino creating music that could keep pace with the film's extensive dinosaur encounters while maintaining emotional coherence. The climactic battle between multiple dinosaurs presented unique challenges, requiring music that could support the spectacle while maintaining narrative clarity. The integration of Williams's themes was handled with particular care during key emotional moments. The appearance of the original Tyrannosaurus Rex from the first film was accompanied by a return of Williams's themes, creating a direct emotional connection to the franchise's origins. Similarly, moments of wonder and discovery were enhanced through the careful use of the original film's more hopeful musical ideas. Giacchino also had to consider the technical aspects of modern film scoring, including the use of surround sound and IMAX audio systems that would present his music in state-of-the-art theatrical environments. The score was mixed and mastered to take full advantage of these advanced audio systems, ensuring that audiences would experience the full impact of the musical accompaniment. The recording process involved a full orchestra, maintaining the tradition of rich, symphonic scoring that had characterized the previous Jurassic films. The orchestral approach helped ensure continuity with the franchise's musical legacy while providing Giacchino with the full range of musical colors needed to support the film's diverse emotional and narrative requirements. A soundtrack album was released on June 9, 2015. By Backlot Music, just days before the film's theatrical premiere. The album allowed fans to experience Giacchino's score independently of the film, showcasing the composer's thematic development and orchestral writing. The soundtrack's release also served as part of the film's marketing campaign, building anticipation for the movie's arrival in theaters. The score's reception among both critics and fans was generally positive, with many praising Giacchino's respectful treatment of Williams's original themes while acknowledging his success in creating new musical ideas that served the film's story. The music was recognized as an integral part of the film's success in recapturing the sense of wonder and excitement that had made the original Jurassic Park such a memorable experience. Released theatrical. The theatrical release of Jurassic World represented one of the most ambitious and successful film launches in cinema history, setting numerous box office records and establishing new standards for global film distribution. The release strategy reflected Universal Pictures' confidence in the project and their understanding of the franchise's worldwide appeal. The marketing campaign for Jurassic World began in earnest in 2014. Building anticipation through a carefully orchestrated series of reveals and promotional materials. The first official pictures from the film set were released in April 2014, providing fans with their first glimpse of the production in progress. These behind-the-scenes images were followed by the release of official film stills in June, further building excitement for the project. The 2014 San Diego Comic-Con provided an important promotional opportunity, with the distribution of 500 limited edition Jurassic World posters by artist Mark Englert. However, the convention also highlighted the challenges of managing fan expectations, as audiences were disappointed by the lack of actual film footage. What many attendees believed to be a Jurassic World trailer turned out to be a teaser for the unrelated Kong, Skull Island project. The viral marketing campaign proved to be one of the most successful aspects of the film's promotion. 2 elaborate websites were created, one for the fictional Masrani Global Corporation and another for the Jurassic World theme park itself. These websites were developed by Jack Anthony Ewens and Timothy Glover, 2 Jurassic Park fans who had previously created a website for a fictional company they believed was associated with the film. Universal's decision to hire these fans to create official promotional content demonstrated the studio's understanding of the franchise's dedicated fanbase. The Masrani Global website provided extensive background information about the fictional company's acquisition of InGen and the development of Jurassic World, much of which was not explicitly covered in the film. The site featured videos of Vincent D'Onofrio and BD Wong speaking in character about their roles within the company, adding depth to the film's fictional universe. The Jurassic World theme park website achieved an extraordinary level of detail, including hotel accommodations, weather reports, and even wait times for rides. Paleontologist Brian Switek was hired to ensure the accuracy of dinosaur information presented on the site, while Trevorrow himself wrote fictional customer comments to enhance the site's authenticity. The first teaser trailer was released online on November 23, 2014, followed by the first full trailer 2 days later. The trailer had originally been scheduled to air during a Thanksgiving NFL game but was released online ahead of schedule due to anticipation. The film was marketed with the tagline "The Park is Open," which effectively communicated both the film's premise and its connection to the original Jurassic Park. Marketing efforts continued throughout 2015, with the television advertisement premiering during Super Bowl's leaks in February. However, not all promotional materials were well received. A clip aired on MTV in April sparked controversy when director Joss Whedon criticized it as 70s era sexist, taking issue with the apparent dynamic between Una and Claire's characters. Trevorrow later acknowledged that he didn't entirely disagree with Whedon's critique and questioned Universal's choice to use that particular clip for promotion. 3 new posters were released in April during a build-up to the final trailer's premiere. Trevorrow later expressed disappointment with Universal's marketing approach, feeling that the trailers revealed too much of the film's content. He explained that the studio's concerns about the film's financial performance, particularly after the disappointing box office results of Jurassic Park 3, led them to include more footage than he would have preferred. Universal's marketing investment was substantial, with $34.9 million spent on television advertisements alone. The promotional campaign also included partnerships with major brands including Kellogg's, Dairy Queen, and Barbasol. Toy companies Lego and Hasbro released extensive product lines based on this film, while 2 video games, Lego Jurassic World and Jurassic World, the game, were released to coincide with the film's premiere. The world premiere of Jurassic World took place on May 29, 2015, at the Grand Rex Cinema in Paris, a prestigious venue that underscored the film's international significance. The premiere served as the official launch of the film's global rollout, which would see the movie released in 66 territories over a 3-day period from June 10 to 12. In North America, advanced screenings were held at Majestic 10 Cinemas in Williston, Vermont, on June 10, before the film opened wide on June 12 and 4,273 Venice. This represented the largest screen count in Universal Pictures history, demonstrating the studio's commitment to maximizing the film's box office potential. The global IMAX release was particularly significant, with Jurassic World playing on 809 IMAX theaters worldwide, including 364 in North America. This represented the third largest worldwide IMAX release in the format's history and the largest day-and-date IMAX release ever attempted. The IMAX presentations were enhanced with specially formatted sequences that took full advantage of the large format screens and advanced audio systems. The film's release schedule was carefully coordinated to maximize its global impact, with most major markets receiving the film within a few days of each other. Japan was the final major market to receive the film, with Jurassic World opening there on August 5, 2015. Universal later relaunched the film in IMAX 3D theaters for a one-week engagement on August 28 in the United States and Canada, providing audiences with another opportunity to experience the film in premium format. This relaunch demonstrated the studio's confidence in the film's continued audience appeal and their desire to maximize revenue from premium ticket sales. The theatrical release strategy proved extraordinarily successful, with Jurassic World exceeding even the most optimistic projections and establishing new benchmarks for global film distribution. The coordinated worldwide release, combined with the extensive marketing campaign and strategic use of premium formats, created a cultural event that extended far beyond typical movie promotion. Home media. The home media release of Jurassic World was as carefully planned and executed as its theatrical debut, with Universal Pictures Home Entertainment developing a comprehensive strategy to maximize the film's post-theatrical revenue potential. The transition from theaters to home viewing platforms represented a crucial phase in the film's commercial life cycle. Jurassic World was released on DVD, Blu-ray, and Blu-ray 3D formats on October 20, 2015, approximately 4 months after its initial theatrical release. This timing was strategic, allowing the film to complete its theatrical run while capitalizing on the holiday shopping season for home entertainment purchases. The home media release proved immediately successful, with the film selling nearly 3 million Blu-ray and DVD units in its first week alone. This achievement made Jurassic World the highest-selling home entertainment live-action film for both Universal Pictures and for the entire year 2015. Demonstrating the continued strength of physical media sales for major blockbuster releases. Across all digital and physical formats, Jurassic World generated $82.6 million in revenue during its first week of home release, a figure that underscored the film's broad commercial appeal and the effectiveness of Universal's release strategy. The strong performance across multiple formats indicated that audiences were eager to own the film in various viewing options. By the end of 2015, Jurassic World had achieved remarkable success in the United Kingdom's home entertainment market, becoming the second highest-selling video of the year with 1.05 million copies sold since its release. The film's performance was consistent across different formats, ranking as the third highest-selling DVD and the second highest-selling Blu-ray in the country. The success in the UK market was particularly significant as it represented one of the most competitive and sophisticated home entertainment markets globally. The film's ability to achieve such strong sales figures in this environment demonstrated its broad international appeal and the effectiveness of Universal's global distribution strategy. In 2018, Jurassic World received another significant home media release as part of the Jurassic Park 25th Anniversary Collection. This release marked the film's debut in 4K UHD Blu-ray format, taking advantage of advances in home viewing technology to present the film with enhanced picture and sound quality. The 4K UHD release represented an important technological milestone for the film, allowing home viewers to experience Jurassic World with increased resolution, improved color depth, and enhanced audio quality. The format's capabilities were particularly well-suited to showcasing the film's extensive visual effects work and Michael Giacchino's orchestral score. The various home media releases included extensive bonus features that provided audiences with behind-the-scenes insight into the film's production. These features typically included deleted scenes, making of documentaries, cast and crew commentary tracks, and technical breakdowns of the film's visual effects sequences. The bonus content served multiple purposes, providing additional value for purchasers while also serving as promotional material for future franchise installments. The behind-the-scenes materials helped audiences appreciate the complexity and craftsmanship involved in bringing Jurassic World to life, potentially increasing their investment in the franchise's continuation. Digital distribution platforms also played a crucial role in this film's home media strategy. Jurassic World was made available through various video-on-demand services, digital download platforms, and streaming services, ensuring that audiences could access the film through their preferred viewing methods. The digital release strategy was coordinated with physical media availability, providing consumers with multiple options while maximizing revenue potential across different distribution channels. This multi-platform approach reflected the evolving nature of home entertainment consumption and Universal's adaptation to changing viewer preferences. The success of Jurassic World's home media release contributed significantly to the film's overall profitability and helped establish the foundation for the continuation of the franchise. The strong post-theatrical performance demonstrated that audiences remained engaged with the property beyond its initial theatrical run, indicating strong potential for sequels and related content. Reception box office. The box office performance of Jurassic World was nothing short of extraordinary, with the film shattering numerous records and establishing new benchmarks for theatrical success. The film's commercial performance exceeded even the most optimistic industry projections and demonstrated the enduring appeal of the Jurassic Park franchise on a global scale. Jurassic World ultimately grossed over $653 million in the United States and Canada, with an additional $1.018 billion in international markets, for a worldwide total of $1.671 billion. These figures made it the second highest grossing film of 2015 and, at the time of its release, the third highest grossing film of all time. The film's success represented a remarkable achievement for Universal Pictures and validated the studio's investment in reviving the franchise. The film's opening weekend performance was particularly remarkable, as initial box office predictions were continuously revised upward throughout the weeks leading to release. Early predictions suggested a domestic opening of around $125 million, but these estimates were gradually increased to $200 million as advance ticket sales and audience interest continued to exceed expectations. Jurassic World opened on Friday, June 12, 2015. in 4,274 theaters across the United States and Canada, earning an astounding $81.9 million on its opening day. This figure represented the fifth biggest opening day and fifth biggest single-day gross in box office history, while also setting a new record for the highest June opening day, surpassing the Twilight Saga Eclipse. The Friday gross included $18.5 million from Thursday night preview showings across 3,229 theaters, which itself established a new record for Universal Pictures. When Thursday night earnings were excluded, the film still achieved the largest opening day gross in history with $63.5 million, demonstrating the breadth of audience interest across different viewing times. Saturday performance continued the record-breaking trend, with Jurassic World earning $69.6 million and setting a new single-day record for that day of the week. Sunday's performance of $57.2 million also established a new record, indicating that the film's appeal extended across the entire weekend rather than being front-loaded on Friday. The weekend total of $208,806,270 established a new opening weekend record, surpassing the previous record held by The Avengers. The achievement was particularly significant as it represented the first time any film had crossed the $200 million threshold for a domestic opening weekend, a milestone that had seemed nearly impossible just years earlier. IMAX performance was equally impressive, with the film earning $20.6 million from 363 IMAX theaters during its opening weekend, representing 10.2% of the total opening gross. This figure surpassed the previous IMAX opening records held by both The Avengers and The Dark Knight Rises simultaneously, demonstrating the format's growing importance for major releases. The film's audience composition during its opening weekend revealed broad demographic appeal, with the audience evenly split between viewers under and over 25 years of age. 52% of the audience were male and 48% were female, indicating that the film successfully appealed to both traditional action movie demographics and broader family audiences. 3D showings accounted for 48% of the total opening gross, with REL 3D presentations contributing $70 million to the weekend total. This performance demonstrated the continued commercial viability of 3D presentations for major spectacle films, particularly those featuring extensive visual effects sequences. The film's Monday performance following its opening weekend continued the record-breaking trend, with Jurassic World earning $25.6 million to achieve the third-highest Monday gross in box office history, trailing only Spider-Man 2 and Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. This figure also represented the biggest non-holiday Monday gross of any film at that time. The second weekend performance established another record, with Jurassic World's revenue dropping by only 49% to $106.6 million, representing the largest second weekend gross in box office history. The relatively modest drop from the opening weekend indicated strong word of mouth and repeat viewing, factors that would contribute to the film's sustained success. Jurassic World topped the North American box office for 3 consecutive weekends, demonstrating remarkable staying power in an increasingly competitive summer movie season. The film continued to break records throughout its run, including achieving the fastest times to reach various box office milestones from $100 million through $600 million. International box office performance was equally spectacular, with Jurassic World opening in 63 countries and earning significant revenue from major markets worldwide. The film opened on Wednesday, June 10, in 8 countries, earning $24 million before expanding to additional markets on subsequent days. Review.one intensely self-conscious of its status as a cultural commodity even as it devotedly follows the requisite playbook for mass audience blockbuster fare. Jurassic World can reasonably lay claim to the number 2 position among the 4 series entries, as it goes down quite a bit easier than the previous 2 sequels. The 14-year layoff since the last one may well have helped, in that the new film's perspective on antiseptic, theme park-style tourism and relentless commercialization, while hardly radical, plainly announces its makers' sense of humor about their own project's multifaceted mercantile motives. Although not terribly scary, and closer to PG than R in its frights and gore, Universal's big summer action release is sufficiently toothsome to make audiences everywhere happy for a return visit to a once wild world that superficially looks as safe and domesticated as a Universal Studios tour. The latest unlikely suspects to make the jump from quirky niche low-budget fare to big studio extravaganza filmmaking. Director Colin Trevorrow and his screenwriting partner Derek Connolly in 2012 made the disarmingly offbeat and fringe-dwelling Safety Not Guaranteed, which scarcely looked like the kind of thing that would punch anyone's ticket for the cinematic planet occupied and significantly owned by Steven Spielberg. For this outing, at least, Trevorrow has sidelined slow-burn drollery in favor of the requisite 5-speed transmission and booming speaker system. But while the scale and generic nature of this sort of franchise endeavor almost inevitably homogenizes a variable amount of a personal filmmaker's imprint, Trevorrow would seem to suggest that he has not irrevocably gone over to the other side but, rather, is testing some different waters for fun and profit. It can also have only helped that the other screenwriters, Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver, had so smartly navigated a new approach to another recent sci-fi franchise about allegedly docile beasts gone wild with the new Planet of the Apes series. The first wise move was pretending that The Lost World, Jurassic Park, 1997, and Jurassic Park 3, 2001, never existed and that the world depicted here descends directly from Spielberg's 1993 adaptation of Michael Crichton's novel. This line of reasoning takes us to a Costa Rican island serviced by large boats that bring hordes of tourists over to stay in humongous hotels and take tramps through terrain occupied by genetically engineered herbivore dinosaurs so benign that they could have been playmates of Dinosaur Bob. Among the many new arrivals are 2 brothers, good-looking teenagers Zach, Nick Robinson, who's checked out mentally, as well as by the young ladies around, and younger, Weebier Gray, Ty Simpkins, who's distraught over what he thinks is their parents' imminent divorce. The boys' aunt, Claire, Bryce Dallas Howard, manages the park, has arranged VIP passes and is supposed to look out for them, but she's too busy memorizing corporate speak, keeping her hair unmussed and strutting around the jungle in heels to pay them much heed. Her handsome fling and former Navy guy Owen, Chris Pratt, is a sort of dinosaur whisperer who has established a certain understanding with some young raptors being raised in captivity, while the gung-ho Hoskins, Vincent D'Onofrio, has undertaken a controversial project to militarize the talents of the new breed of dinosaurs. At the top of the food chain is billionaire Jurassic World owner Mazrumi Irfan Khan, whose response to a slight dip in profits is to keep building bigger and better dinosaurs. The current star attraction is a gigantic sea creature that zooms straight up out of its pool to swallow in one gulp a great white shark dangling from a hook above, a spectacle which one is inclined to interpret as a sly admission by Spielberg as to how far the world has moved on since Jaws. But management's secret project, engineered by brilliant, amoral scientist Henry Wu, B.D. Wong, is an enormous new T-Rex-like predator that goes by the name Indominus Rex and is sure to send revenues soaring once again. The main objectives of the script are to work out the timing and net result of Indominus' escape, whom he should eat, and how many close calls can be arranged with characters who are clearly not meant to die. Those whose fate it is to become dinosaurs pretty much have signs pinned to their backs from the get-go. Despite the story's formulaic structure and the predictable nature of its cautionary stance on playing God, the old-fashioned Saturday matinee-like pleasure stemming from resourceful daring-do in the face of mighty odds retain an appeal if done reasonably well, which is the case here. The action only occasionally rises to rousing, and the romance, such as it is, between the watered-down Indiana Jones type appealingly played by Pratt and the corporate mouthpiece less engagingly embodied by Howard, never gets off the ground. What's more, the two brothers are thinly drawn, with the older one in particular remaining off-putting for far too long behind his ever-present earphones. Still, there's a certain low-key affability about Trevorrow's approach that marks him a likable humanist rather than a director determined to hammer the viewer into submission, which unfortunately is what you feel with too many giant franchise projects such as this. This is, after all, a story about humankind's fallibility, hubris and inclination to bring destruction upon itself, and one at least feels little tremors of this awareness leaking out between the creature's deafening stomps and roars. On the whole, the film successfully steers clear of a significant CGI look, and Michael Giacchino's score skillfully takes certain cues from John Williams' prior series work but develops a pronounced character of its own. Review. 2 When Nolan Ubler's volcanic foundations become active again, Jurassic World's former manager Claire Dearing, Bryce Dallas Howard, now a dinosaur rights activist, teams back up with Owen Grady, Chris Pratt, for a rescue mission. "Do you remember the first time you saw a dinosaur?" asks Claire Dearing, Howard, in Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. "We do." When Steven Spielberg's photoreal prehistoric predators hit multiplexes in 1993, they changed cinema forever. And they were terrifying. To paraphrase Dr. Ian Malcolm, after the oohs and ahs came the running and screaming, but the original park's perfectly attuned moments of pure suspense, the tapping velociraptor claw, the water rippling in a T-Rex footprint, have never been matched until now. Enter J.A. Bayona, director of The Orphanage, who injects his gothic horror sensibilities into the series' DNA and conjures a new installment steeped in tightly wound tension. Hold on to your butts. But Bayona doesn't just pull off the carefully crafted white-knuckle frights you expect of him. He also goes bigger than any other Jurassic film, where The Lost World and 3 struggled to deliver convincing motivations for their characters to willingly return to dinosaur terrain. Bayona and Colin Trevorrow, director of Jurassic World, who produces and co-writes here, crack it with a time bomb premise. Island Ubler's no longer dormant volcano is about to blow. Is humanity obliged to save the creatures it brought back from extinction, or has life, found a way of course-correcting in explosive style? It's a setup which sends the park's former operations manager Claire, now campaigning for dinosaur rights, and Owen Grady, Pratt, on a quest to rescue a handful of species, including Velociraptor Blue, From the lava-seeping ruins of the failed park, Howard and Pratt developed their characters beyond the archetypes they inhabited last time. The island is where Bayona's disaster movie credentials come into play. He invokes the relentless intensity of the Impossible's harrowing tsunami in a thunderous stampede sequence as the volcanic eruption escalates, boldly providing the film's biggest set piece at the midway point. Such mass destruction is a new flavor for the Jurassic series, and Bayona wisely punctuates the bombast with human-scale parallel and underwater sequence with Claire and her scaredy cat tech nerd colleague Franklin Smith. Trapped in a sinking gyrosphere is a breath-holding highlight, while the volcano cranks the island Ubler action up to 11. Back on the mainland, Bayona holds a tight focus on the creepy Lockwood estate at the mansion home of John Hammond's former business partner, orchestrating beautifully framed, precision-tuned scares with his scaly new star, the Indoraptor. Yes, InGen has been up to its gene-splicing tricks again, cooking up a new nightmare hybrid that, of course, is soon on the loose. With such hissable baddies as Ted Levine's trophy-collecting mercenary Ken Wheatley and Toby Jones' Trump-wigged auctioneer Gunnar Eversole on site, watching it wreak toothy havoc is a scream. As for our heroes, Howard and Pratt developed their characters beyond the archetypes they inhabited last time. Claire 2.0 is more engaging and sympathetic, and yes, she wears sensible shoes this time, while Owen's more brash, chauvinistic edges are rounded off. The pair have real chemistry, best evidenced during a hugely entertaining sleeping T-Rex sequence that delivers laughs, gasps, and top-notch animatronic effects. You wanted more real dinosaurs this time? You got them. There are niggles. One character's mysterious identity is telegraphed far too heavily. Goldblum's cameo is well conceived but extremely brief, and Michael Giacchino's score underuses the John Williams fanfare. But despite some familiar echoes of The Lost World, Fallen Kingdom also takes big, ballsy, irreversible strides, deriving tantalizing logical conclusions from Michael Crichton's original premise and setting up a brave new world for this trilogy's final chapter. The fear factor is back. This is a Jurassic sequel that plays it both adrenaline-pumpingly huge and thrillingly small, a summer ride that will drive kids out of their minds, and maybe even give the parents nightmares. Review. 3 Universal Pictures and producer Steven Spielberg have been faced with a predicament since the release of Jurassic Park. Spielberg's 1993 blockbuster shattered box office records and launched a new wave of digital cinema with its still impressive implementation of CGI. But if you've seen one computer-generated dinosaur, you've seen them all. The filmmakers have since struggled to understand that and delivered underwhelming sequels in 1997 and 2001, light on characters and heavy on dinosaur mayhem. Perhaps with that in mind, it took 14 years to develop a worthy sequel after the dull Jurassic Park 3. And while the franchise's latest attraction, Jurassic World, still hasn't figured out that it's not the size of the dinosaurs that matters, it's the depth of characters, the new film at least betters its two predecessors by embracing the original's theme park gone haywire scenario, complete with Spielbergian family bonding. The new film embraces its close resemblance to the original with the refreshingly self-aware playfulness, and yet, even while admitting that it's somewhat obligated to be bigger, louder, and have more teeth, it also delivers perfect escapist summer entertainment. Spielberg directed the initial adaptation of Michael Crichton's novel and its follow-up, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, before handing the reins to Joe Johnston for number 3. After poor critical and fan reception, he sought fresh blood for number 4. Spielberg took a meeting with Colin Trevorrow, whose only film credit was an idiosyncratic romantic comedy also sort of about time travel called Safety Not Guaranteed, 2012. The legendary director saw Trevorrow's low-budget freshman effort and soon offered him a $150+ million budget to direct the 4th Jurassic Park film, but Trevorrow wanted nothing to do with the script he was handed. Instead, he demanded that he and his previous collaborator, fellow new film student Derek Connolly, be allowed to rewrite their own personalized draft, a ballsy mandate given who was making Trevorrow the offer. Nevertheless, Spielberg conceded with only 3 required elements: a fully operational park, a park trainer with the trust of his animals, and a new dinosaur that escapes captivity. And aside from Spielberg's notes as an involved executive producer, at times Jurassic World feels just as idiosyncratic as Safety Not Guaranteed, but within the limitations of a dinosaurs chase humans scenario. "No one's impressed with dinosaurs anymore," remarks a character early on, suggesting that the original's two lackluster sequels already proved that a movie about nothing more than dinosaurs on the loose, eating humans and wreaking havoc, has lost its charm since Spielberg's first Jaws on land release. Fortunately, Jurassic World's self-conscious streak acknowledges the difficulty of sustaining a franchise through one-upmanship. Not only does it deliver bigger, badder dinosaurs, but it also underscores how absurd it is that audiences no longer find dinosaurs interesting on their own. Co-writers Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver, who share credit with Connelly and Trevorrow, put the long-operating island theme park Jurassic World in a similar dilemma. On the Costa Rican Isle of Isla park manager Claire, Bryce Dallas Howard, bows to the park's billionaire owner Mazrumi, Irfan Khan, who demands toothier dino attractions after profits enter a slight valley. Life imitates art, or at least moves along a similar path in this case. Courtesy of John Hammond's former geneticist Dr. Henry Wu, B.D. Wong, reprising his role from the original, the park's latest attraction will be a creation called Indominus Rex, an engineered hybrid of a T-Rex and who knows what else. Dubbed Verizon Wireless Indominus Rex by investors, this uncannily smart creature is to Deep Blue Sea, 1999, what Jurassic Park's T-Rex was to Jaws. It's a thinking, problem-solving, malicious monster with some unique traits, including a nifty camouflage trick. It's also a vicious killer that pushes the PG-13 label. Elsewhere, the old standard dinosaurs show up, Brachiosaurus, Triceratops, Stegosaurus, etc., but there are some new species too, including an impressive underwater creature, one that chomps down on a great white shark like a seal would a minnow, as if to outdo Jaws. At any rate, inevitably, the I-Rex busts loose in what an automated voice hilariously calls a containment anomaly, sends everyone in the park screaming for their lives, and requires action from the human cast members. Once the I-Rex escapes, Claire, obsessed with control, as indicated by her angular hair and clean, white getup, struggles to maintain composure as the creature tears through the park's security measures and begins killing other animals with murderous abandon. Meanwhile, Claire's nephews have been sent to the park as their parents, Judy Greer and Andy Buckley, wrap up divorce proceedings on the mainland. Moody, hormonal teen Zach, Nick Robinson, and his younger, dino-crazed brother Gray, Ty Simpkins, were supposed to spend the week with Claire, but she's a businesswoman, allergic to kids, and far too preoccupied. Just as the park rides shut down and emergency containment procedures begin, Zach and Gray are, of course, still exploring the park and require rescuing. Enter Rowan Grady, the sarcastic ex-Navy man played by Chris Pratt, fresh off his star-making turn in Guardians of the Galaxy. This quipping slab of machismo has tamed a pack of velociraptors, the smarter-than-average dinosaur species that remains a series favorite. Though they don't use their 6-inch claws on a scratching post quite yet, they listen enough to resist making Grady lunch. Now frantic and out of her comfort zone, Claire joins Grady, with whom she has a romantic past, to recover her two visiting nephews. At the same time, a military contractor, Vincent D'Onofrio, working for InGen, the company behind Jurassic World, wants to use Grady's velociraptors for hunting down the I-Rex to test them for possible military applications. This is such a gloriously bad idea that you just know it's going to end up bad. Much of what happens you could probably see coming if you took yourself out of the experience. Jurassic World follows the basic outline of the 1993 film, occupying a small laundry list of formulaic characters and situations gleaned from the original. However, they're all delivered with expert aplomb. Trevorrow keeps us wrapped from start to finish with fast pacing, an energetic script, and solid direction. He doesn't give us an opportunity to think about what's coming. Granted, he doesn't deliver as many iconic visual moments as a master like Spielberg did in Jurassic Park, but his execution is confident. Certainly one could accuse the film of relying too heavily on CGI to create its dinosaurs, as the production almost entirely avoids practical or animatronic effects. CGI technology apparently hasn't improved much in 22 years, because the creatures look comparable to those in the original, and at times less convincing. For example, the final battle between an array of dinosaurs in the park's downtown area becomes somewhat difficult to follow and, for being the film's big showdown, plays somewhat clumsily. Rendered with better VFX and more fascinating overall are the horrific possibilities of the Irex, scary intelligence and unexpected predatory traits, all gathered from various DNA sources. Why would anyone make such a monster? You might ask. That's a question left for an inevitable sequel. Jurassic World is at its best when it replicates the theme park experience, the advertising, crowded walkways, monorails, and petting zoos all through a sardonic lens. Kudos to Trevorrow and production designer Rebirth for recreating the look of Jurassic World to mirror Disneyland and Universal Studios theme parks. Their shops, restaurants, IMAX theater, cross-promoting, and general Main Street layout create a familiar theme park experience for the viewer. The park itself is as much a character as New York City in every movie that takes place in New York. As for the humans, Claire is the only character with a fully developed character arc, and Howard is charming in the role. The others are standard archetypes, but even cliché copyright-esque can work when properly implemented. That's why they're cliché copyright-esque in the first place. Claire's character is by no means static, as her icy exterior eventually melts into a heroine of sorts, and one with a newfound motherly instinct no less. But the fact that she refuses to remove her heels in the jungle deserves an eye roll. Pratt is suitably heroic and at times jokey, though not quite so much as Star-Lord. Simpkins is joyful and rambunctious, echoing his role from Iron Man 3. Khan's eccentric millionaire remains likable, but like Hammond, the character is ignorant of the moral implications of genetic experimentation. To be sure, Jurassic World is not without subtexts relating to the genetic modification of animals or even producia, the point being that tampering with nature usually has side effects. Whether it's genetically modified corn being fed to a chicken pumped full of antibiotics, hormones, and any number of other unnatural chemical catalysts, or an ultra-intelligent dinosaur bent on eating everything in sight, the message is the same. One might also glean a message of animal rights activism from the proceedings, given Grady's sympathetic understanding of the dinosaurs' needs as animals that learn from their surroundings and experiences. But such ideas are buried beneath the surface of Trevorrow's popcorn-munching treatment, which contains all the usual signs of a rousing Hollywood blockbuster. Despite the film being very standard stuff, the screenplay allows for quirky moments that keep us chuckling. Jake Johnson appears as a control room techie and has some hilarious lines, including a wonderful moment when he assumes a hero role for misguided reasons. The romantic banter between Pratt and Howard is typical, but it works because the performers are likable, and the situation keeps us in the moment. Trevorrow fully embraces the summer movie tentpole style and, considering this is only his sophomore effort, nails it. In previous sequels, Jurassic Park's romanticism toward dinosaurs was replaced with monster movie mechanics. Much as Claire keeps the dinosaurs at a distance as attractions or assets, audiences have learned to view these creature effects with a level of detachment unable to suspend our disbelief, in part because the storytelling in The Lost World, Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 3 was so lazy. Not only was the awe and wonderment of the original gone, but the suspense was gone too. Perhaps best of all, Jurassic World makes us feel something for dinosaurs. Through the course of his film, largely through Grady treating dinosaurs as animals that, like any other creature, must be taught and developed, we become invested in their behavior patterns, therein making dinosaurs more real for our experience. During one somber scene, you may come to tears as a dying herbivore takes its last breath. In another scene, you might gasp at the possible death of your new favorite velociraptor named Blue. Other scenes, including several effectively executed chase sequences, create thrills that make the audience tense up or jump in their seats. Not since Spielberg's original film has this franchise been able to induce such reactions. Jurassic World resolves to be more than another by-the-numbers entry in a highly commercial money-making franchise. It's sharp, well-made, knowing entertainment that's also the first sequel worthy of the original masterpiece. Review. For the best aspects of Jurassic World, in which a hybrid super predator runs amok in the trouble-plagued theme park, are so good that they transport you that exhilarating mental space where the series' original director, Steven Spielberg, raised the tentpole back in 1993. The worst aspects are bad indeed: thin characterizations, a blasé attitude toward human-on-animal violence, and a weird male supremacist streak that comes close to sneering at unmarried career women who don't have kids. On the smarter side of the ledger, you can enter 3, maybe 4 large-scale action sequences that do the master proud, directed by Colin Trevorrow in a style that's Spielbergian but not slavishly so. They're bruising but not overbearing, and laid out with clarity. You always know where you are and what's happening, and you rarely see as much brutality as you think. Some of the mayhem is suggested by sound effects, a blur of the motion obscured by foreground objects, or a spray of blood on a wall. Every shot and cut pulls its weight. Every new development makes the sequence feel like a story within a story, with the end goal of getting the hell away from dinosaurs. The final half hour is a sustained chase through dark woods that reverses expectations again and again, culminating in a whirl of dino and dino violence, a final cloud of claws and teeth. But best in show goes to the sequence where park visitors are attacked by pterodactyls that pluck them from the ground like Mikea, and homage to the birds that amounts to Trevorrow doing Spielberg doing Hitchcock. You can say a lot of things about this director, but not that he lacks confidence. Less bruising but more intriguing are the bits that feel like preemptive strikes against criticism, or at the very least, examples of a $200 million franchise installment sizing itself up as a consumer product as well as a film. It's as if somebody had taken one of the most discussed bits from the original Jurassic Park, the shots of merchandise emblazoned with the same logo as the film you were watching, and unpacked it with care and joy, as if it were a bottomless, self-referential toy chest. That Jurassic World can think about itself as a sequel without taking us out of the story we're watching makes it truly Spielbergian. When a friend heard the premise of Jurassic World at the park, which has been open for 20 years without an accident, decides to create a bigger, badder meat-eater, he said the tagline on the poster should be "We never learn." As it turns out, Chris Pratt's character says these people never learn when he hears about the new dino. Park staffers talk about how they introduce new creatures every few years to goose ticket sales. Jaded park visitors are compared to Americans who lost interest in moon missions after the first one, and require bigger, louder dinosaurs with more teeth. The movie is talking about the Park series itself, which introduced new dinos each time out to keep viewers interested, and easily bored movie audiences in the age of computer-generated imagery, technology that the first 2 Park films made fashionable. It's also talking about the steady escalation of scale in the blockbuster, which mandated that each new incarnation of Godzilla be larger than the previous one, and birthed superhero films so inflated that on those rare occasions when the good guys save the human race instead of the universe, critics congratulate the filmmakers for daring to be intimate. The cartoon character Mr. DNA makes a brief cameo here, as a prelude to discussions of the new Predator Ditto, the original compound headquarters, and the When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth banner, and they all remind us of how intimate the first movie now seems, and how comparatively old-fashioned. There's an even better scene where teenager Zach Mitchell, Nick Robinson, one of 2 brothers visiting the park, takes a cell phone call from his mom while behind him, a T-Rex approaches a goat in a paddock that's decorated to evoke the spot where another T-Rex tore apart 2 Land Cruisers in the first Jurassic Park. Apparently the elapsed time has turned a moment of life-changing terror for Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, Sam Neill and company into just another theme for an exhibit. The young man in the foreground is so bored with what's happening behind him, just as, presumably, young moviegoers are bored by 1990s Spielberg films. I hope noted that he doesn't look up from his phone when the T-Rex eats the goat. This scene resonates with that Moon Missions comment. It also connects to a scene where a whale-sized predator in a SeaWorld-style aquatic theater leaps from the water and bites a great white shark off a dangling hook. This is a marvelous image on its own terms, but even better when you realize that it's summing up the last 40 years of summer blockbuster cinema. starting with Jaws. Every 12 months there's a bigger fish. A few of the action scenes break with Spielbergian tradition by treating the dinosaurs as monsters to be exterminated with impunity, rather than magnificent, human-recreated, once extinct animals that ought to be admired and pitied as well as feared. Dinosaurs get wiped out by the bushel in this movie, sometimes in scenes that are too obviously inspired by James Cameron's Aliens. There's even a sequence where soldiers' deaths are tallied by freaky first-person helmet cam feeds and flatlining EKG displays. The DNA-spliced super predator, which goes by the knowingly silly name Indominus Rex, is immense and unnatural-looking. Its teeth are so jagged that you wonder if it cuts its gums when it eats. But even though it's basically a dino version of Frankenstein's monster, the film won't allow us any mixed feelings towards it, because that would complicate the movie's first-person shooter style, gee-whiz attitude toward mercenaries, guns and explosives. Much worse is the relationships between the commando-turned-velociraptor trainer Owen Grady, Pratt, drained of charisma playing an eye-rolling know-it-all, and Park Administrator Claire Daring, Bryce Dallas Howard, who was entrusted with the care of her nephew Zach and his wide-eyed, sensitive kid brother Gray, Ty Simpkins. Claire's unflattering business outfits and helmet-like hairdo make her look like a life-size 1980s Office Woman action figure. She wears high heels all through the movie so that she can look dumb running in mud and give Owen a crowd-pleasing line about her ridiculous shoes that the screenplay placed on her feet. All this stuff is a throwback to 1960s macho adventure pictures in which the he-man of nature knew best and knew everything. Relia and the little lady was on screen to get in the hero's way, scream, cry, and have her dedication to her career, her failure to produce children, and her lack of maternal warmth treated as fair game for sneering jokes. Clara rallies near the end, of course, and does brave things in those heels, but the overall effect is so tonally inappropriate that you may wonder which of the film's producers went through a divorce recently. It's possible to filter out the irritating aspects and enjoy the movie as a raucous, often brilliantly assembled spectacle. But we shouldn't have to. The fact that we do mix an otherwise hugely impressive sequel feels small-minded. Review. 5 million years ago, in 1993, Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park unleashed two menaces on the planet. The first, of course, was dinosaurs, as the movie warned would-be genetic engineers of the consequences of playing God. Far more upsetting, however, was the explosion of computer-generated visual effects, which have been abused and misused in nearly every way imaginable since we collectively marveled at a herd of virtual brontosauruses majestically stomping across a tropical island. The Jurassic sequels have been among the worst offenders, illustrating corny situations with unconvincing visuals and thereby subjecting one of Hollywood's most profitable franchises to the tyranny of VFX, as in the turducken-like gag of a mosasaurus eating a pterodactyl halfway through eating a park guest. The $6 billion franchise's seventh installment, Jurassic World Rebirth, serves as a reset of sorts, bringing back not a single one of its former cast members, but instead allowing screenwriter David Koepp to restore what worked so well about the original film. Koepp, who adapted the Michael Crichton bestseller and its 1997 sequel, The Lost World, is just as committed as anyone to serving up monster movie thrills. But he and filmmaker Gareth Edwards, the Godzilla director whose entire career, dating back to his 2010 debut, Monsters, depends on the strategic use of CGI, understand how to prioritize the human characters over the imaginary threats. That all-important dynamic starts with the script, as none of it works if we don't believe in the people being endangered. Here we get an all-new ensemble, dashing from one well-staged sequence to the next with the efficiency of an old-school Hollywood serial. Shady Big Pharma hotshot Martin Krebs, Rupert Friend, spares no expense in recruiting amoral special ops vet Zora Bennett, Scarlett Johansson, and pragmatic paleontologist Henry Loomis, Jonathan Bailey, for a suicide mission to the off-limits equatorial habitat of Ile St. Hubert. Johansson is a marked improvement over the Bryce Dallas Howard character in the previous three Jurassic World movies. Embarrassing follow-ups it's possible to pretend didn't happen. now that escaped species are dying off around the globe, and it's especially satisfying to get a woman in the role of the team's toughest member, with no obligation to be anyone's love interest. Rendered bookish by a pair of wire-framed glasses, Henry is introduced as a student of Dr. Alan Grant, but despite several decades of dinos roaming the Earth, again, he's spent more time studying fossils than interacting with any of the living creatures. Krebs offers him a chance to observe them up close as he attempts to collect blood samples from the three largest species, the aforementioned Mosasaurus in water, Titanosaurus on land, and Quetzalcoatlus of the air. Meanwhile, an intimidating opening sequence teases the true attraction of Rebirth. The island houses a research facility where scientists hatched a number of mutant hybrids, including the six-legged Distritus Rex, not unlike the top-heavy ranker from Return of the Jedi. The movie brings back several old favorites, including Velociraptors, Dilophosaurus and a T-Rex from the original before unleashing this fresh monstrosity on the handful of characters who make it to the end. In order to reach the island, Bennett enlists Duncan Kincaid, Michelle Ollie, a Suriname-based old friend adventurous enough to steer his ship and crew, co-pilots Philippine-Belgian Beaker Sylvain, plus a gun-crazy security chief played by Ed Skrein, to certain doom. Kincaid may seem ruthless, but Cope gives him a more sympathetic backstory, suggesting that the grieving mercenary recently lost a child and may sacrifice himself to spare another, if given such a chance. That turns out to be relevant when the team comes across a family that narrowly survived the Mosasaurus encounter: a father, Ruben, Manuel Garcia-Rolfo, and his daughters Isabella, Audrina Miranda, 11, and college-bound Teresa, Luna Blaze, along with her exasperating boyfriend Xavier, David Iacono, huddled on an overturned sailboat. The attack itself delivers classic Jaws excitement, illustrating Edward's instincts for suspense over excess, showing commendable restraint in the use of CGI, and a refreshing return to practical locations and celluloid film stock that counteract how fake the Otherworld movies look. The Mosasaurus first appears as an intimidating silhouette in the water. When it finally breaches the surface, the film treats that sight with all the awe of a dramatic whale-watching expedition. Edwards understands that the Jurassic franchise is most effective when the dinosaurs seem real. At 2 hours and 5 minutes before credits, Rebirth runs long, but not excessively so, allowing time for audiences to observe and appreciate creatures that went extinct long ago, whose behavior is based largely on speculation. When the team stumbles across a small Titanosaurus herd, the film privileges Henry's reaction as the paleontologist witnesses an elegant mating ritual for the first time. That sequence is every bit as satisfying as the action set pieces, many of which rely on a common gimmick, one Edwards relies on perhaps 3 too many times. While the camera concentrates on a distracted character in the foreground, a menacing shape moves silently out of focus behind their back, cueing audiences that an attack is imminent. As such, we're nearly always one step ahead of our heroes, cringing over threats those on screen rarely see coming. As in the humorous moment when Xavier takes a late-night bathroom break, urinating toward the camera as a tense dino battle unfolds over his shoulder. Edwards and Cope include a decent number of knowing winks to the earlier films, starting with the falling banner that reads "When dinosaurs ruled the earth," but they also manipulate our expectations in clever ways, recognizing that we've been trained to anticipate how selfish and absent-minded acts can justify certain characters being eaten. Xavier is both when first introduced, but the slacker pothead lives long enough to reveal his chivalrous side. Although most of the dinos don't hesitate to devour people, an herbivorous, poppy-sized Aquilops that Ella dubs Dolores is cute enough to adopt. Scenes between Ella and her potentially ill-advised pet, along with tender moments involving several other species, introduce a surprising counter-argument to the earlier Jurassic movies, namely, that they have a right to exist. But entertaining as it can be at times, stripped of the silliness that tainted the second trilogy, but also the saga-advancing narrative, Rebirth doesn't necessarily make the same case for itself. The movie offers an updated version of the same basic ride Spielberg offered 32 years earlier, and yet, it hardly feels essential to the series' overall mythology. nor does it signal where the franchise could be headed. Review. 6 Jurassic World Rebirth. Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey and Michelle Ali's reboot of the Jurassic World franchise has Rotten Tomatoes critics divided. Jurassic World Rebirth opens in theaters nationwide on Wednesday. The official summary for the film reads, 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion, the planet's ecology has proven largely inhospitable to dinosaurs. Those remaining exist in isolated equatorial environments with climates resembling the one in which they once thrived. The three most colossal creatures across land, sea and air within that tropical biosphere hold, in their DNA, the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to humankind. Directed by Gareth Edwards, Jurassic World Rebirth also stars Rupert Friend, Manuel Garcia Rulfo, Luna Blaze, David Iacono, Audrina Miranda, Philippine Velge, Becker Sylvain and Ed Skrein. As of Tuesday, Jurassic World Rebirth has earned a 53% rotten rating from Rotten Tomatoes critics based on 113 reviews. RT's critics' consensus and Popcornmeter rating are still pending. What are individual critics saying about a Jurassic World Rebirth? Among the top critics on RT who give Jurassic World Rebirth a rotten rating is Johnny Oleksinski of the New York Post, who writes, "The once great franchise is hardly reborn from the amber this time. It's slammed by an asteroid yet again." Alyssa Wilkinson of the New York Times also gives Jurassic World Rebirth a rotten rating on RT. In the story, the ubiquity of the dinosaurs has left humanity feeling bored and annoyed, cutting the feet out from under those moments, and it's starting to feel like the movies are getting bored, too. Nick Schager of the Daily Beast rates Jurassic World Rebirth rotten as well, writing in his RT review summary, "The underwhelming result is similar to its signature beasts, a handsome clone that serves no purpose except to line its creators' pockets." Mark Kennedy of the Associated Press is among the top critics on RT who give Jurassic World a fresh rating, writing, "In many ways, the folks behind Jurassic World Rebirth are trying to do the same thing as their mercenaries, going back to the source code to recapture the magic of Steven Spielberg's 1993 blockbuster original. They've thrillingly succeeded." Bill Bria of The Wrap also gives Jurassic World Rebirth a fresh rating on RT, writing, "Just because cheeseburgers are now available anywhere doesn't mean that they can't be damn tasty. Jurassic Park Rebirth is just a well-made cheeseburger, and whether that's filling and interesting enough is up to your own appetite." Also giving the film a fresh review is Stephanie Zacharek of Time magazine, who writes, "Jurassic World Rebirth features likable humans as well as some pleasantly cartoonish distasteful ones, and lots of dinosaurs just doing their thing.